I just watched Furious 7. This movie cranks up the Fast and Furious series up to full-blown superhero movie territory, and not in a good way. The cars still roar, but now they practically fly. I've reviewed the first 6 movies for this channel already, and this was my first ever time watching Furious 7. It left me with a weird emotional limbo of feeling half thrilled and half exhausted. On one hand, we've got slick productions, insane stunts, and a surprisingly heartfelt tribute to the late Paul Walker. On the other hand, this thing treats physics like a vague suggestion. The franchise has officially traded underground street racing for world-saving spy nonsense, and this one goes all in on the spy nonsense. If you check your brain at the door, it's a total blast. It's fun to watch. If not, buckle up for frustration. So I'm going to finish the entire saga on this channel, so let's break down Furious 7. Full spoilers ahead. As teased up from the previous film, we open with Jason Statham as Deckard Shaw. He's going through a demolished London hospital to visit his brother Owen, the guy Dom's crew took down in the previous movie. Shaw radiates menace, cool as ice, like he's about to single-handedly dismantle civilization. Unfortunately, that unstoppable killer vibe fizzles out fast. He's more hype than substance. Then we cut to Race Wars, a desert racing event that was seen in the first movie. It's like they pulled it straight out of 2001, dusted it off, and stuck it in this movie to remind us that this movie used to be about racing, even though it's not that at all anymore. It doesn't really do anything other than give us an excuse to see scantily clad women and fancy cars. It's a reminder of what the franchise used to be, but it's in this movie for a few seconds, and that's fine. They play it off as Dom trying to get Letty to remember her past. She is still trying to piece together her lost memories from, well, whatever that whole soap opera subplot was. It's nostalgic for about a minute, then Jason Statham kicks down the door of the plot once again, this time by ambushing Agent Hobbs, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, in his office. Their fight is pure chaos and fun to watch. They crash through walls, swing each other around like human wrecking balls, and of course neither one of them get hurt because they can take infinity punches. Down several stories to a car below where they both get killed. I'm just kidding, they're both fine, because apparently in this movie, cars are like fluffy pillows. Hobbs ends up in the hospital with a broken arm. He should have had it broken just about everything else too, but he broke his arm, which in the Fast and Furious movies is sort of like getting a paper cut. That's the moment reality officially clocks out, and it stays out for the rest of the movie. Meanwhile, Brian, played by Paul Walker, is trying to adjust to life as a dad. There's a great little fake out in the movie where they have a close-up of his face behind the steering wheel, and the engine's revving and you feel like it's going to be another race sequence, but the camera pulls back to reveal he's driving a minivan, dropping his kids off at school. It was a genuinely funny moment that made me literally laugh out loud. I thought that was great. But domestic peace does not last very long. Shaw sends a bomb to Dom's house, where Brian is visiting, and it turns the house into rubble. Everyone flies through the air in slow motion, but of course nobody dies because this is the Fast and Furious, where explosions are just like gentle breezes. This ties into Tokyo Drift, finally explaining Han's death, connecting the timeline together, and an odd, confusing timeline it is. Dom then flies off to Tokyo to collect Han's stuff after he died in Tokyo Drift from Sam Boswell. The kid from Tokyo Drift, except Sean, is clearly in his 30s, still pretending to be a teenager. It was a stretch in Tokyo Drift when he was playing a teenager, but now, all these years later, he's supposed to be the same person in the same time period, only he looks significantly older because in the real world, many years have passed. It's a short scene, thankfully, but it's also a painful reminder about how weird this timeline is. And Tokyo Drift was my least favorite of these movies so far, so I'm glad the Tokyo Drift stuff was very brief. Then, out of nowhere, Kurt Russell appears. Yay, I like Kurt Russell. He instantly improves the movie just by existing. He plays Mr. Nobody, a smooth-talking government agent who somehow manages to make drinking Belgium ale sound like a power move. And of course he has some Coronas for Dom too, because he did his research and knows about these people. He lays out the mission. The crew needs to recover the main MacGuffin of the film, something called God's Eye, a surveillance program that can locate absolutely anyone on Earth by hacking every camera and microphone. Basically, it's the same thing Batman does in The Dark Knight. But right now the MacGuffin is in the hands of a warlord called Gigante. Mr. Nobody offers a deal. Retrieve the MacGuffin, and they can use it to track down Shaw. Naturally, Dom's crew agrees, because family, or honor, or possibly just out of boredom. What follows is one of the most absurdly glorious set pieces in modern action cinema. The team parachutes their cars out of a plane. Yes, cars out of a plane. They drop precision-like onto a mountain road in Azerbaijan, and somehow everyone lands wheels down like they're all trained as stunt pilots. It's absolutely bonkers, and that's just the beginning of the insanity. And you know what? It's fun. It's undeniably fun, even though it's ridiculous. From there, it's non-stop mayhem, flipping buses, machine gun fire, cars flying off cliffs, and everyone walking away without so much as a scratch. Brian's stand-up moment has him fighting inside of a bus, dangling off of a cliff to rescue a hacker named Ramsey. When the bus plummets, he crawls out the door, climbs up on top of the bus, and runs along the top of the bus at the exact same speed that it is slowly falling down a cliff. He jumps off of the back of the bus just as it's plummeting off the cliff, and it defies all logic, but that's okay. Next stop, Abu Dhabi for a heist that feels like Ocean's 11 on nitrous oxide. The computer chip tied to the God's Eye MacGuffin is inside of a billionaire's red sports car that costs $1 bajillion. Roman provides comic relief by hijacking a microphone at a party, pretending it's some random woman's birthday. Everybody's eyes and attention are on him, so nobody knows what Dom is doing and nobody knows what Letty is doing. Letty ends up in a secured area and ends up fighting a bodyguard in an evening gown. These two women fight in a way that I feel like was designed for testosterone-fueled teenage boys to enjoy, if you get my meaning. And then it happens, the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in a movie. Dom and Brian drive the multi-bazillion-dollar red sports car through one skyscraper window. Well, they drive it around the party first, but then the car goes out the window, it flies through the skyscraper wall into another skyscraper, goes through the steel and glass, goes through that entire building, plowing over walls, plowing through support beams. They say the brakes don't work, so apparently they can't stop in skyscraper number 2, so they plow out the opposite window and then fly through the air again, crash into a third skyscraper, again, going through beams and support columns and walls and whatnot, and then they go out yet another window. So that's 5 windows. Not just windows, but like actual skyscraper walls. They leave one building, go through both walls of a second building, both walls of a third building. Luckily, Brian and Dom jump out just at the last possible second where the car goes careening down to its destruction. I'm sorry, folks, I don't care what that car is made out of, it is not going to plow through 5 skyscraper walls and still be intact. And the impact of those things are going to kill Brian and Dom. I don't care what you say. That is absolutely impossible and absurd, but you know what? It doesn't really matter because this movie is basically a fantasy cartoon for men anyway, so it is what it is. But I have to tell you, it made me laugh. With the God's Eye MacGuffin secured, the team tracks Shaw to a warehouse where he's eating dinner like a Bond villain. He drops a vague line about, "I have a lot of friends," after Dom talks about family. And then Gigante's villains show up, they burst through the walls, and they attack like an army, bullets fly, explosions, and oh no, Mr. Nobody gets shot. But you know what, he's fine, he's wearing a bulletproof vest because of course he is. Gotta wear that hero armor. The finale of the movie moves to Los Angeles, turning downtown into an all-out war zone. Gigante deploys drones and helicopters while Hobbs, while in the hospital, sees what's going on, decides he's done with bed rest. And maybe the funniest moment of the franchise, one of the most unintentionally funny moments of the film, The Rock gets out of his hospital bed with a full arm cast, Daddy's got work to do, and then to remove the cast, I guess he decides that his arm isn't broken anymore, so to get out of the cast, he flexes his muscly arm, which shatters the cast, and of course he's absolutely fine, no more broken arm. Apparently, The Rock's biceps heal bones now. Then he steals an ambulance and drives it off of a bridge. The ambulance explodes in a massive fireball, but The Rock walks out of it just fine because of course he does. He casually picks up a minigun and goes to town on the bad guys with the minigun, and you know what? He's not wearing any hearing protection. This might seem like a small thing, but it's annoying. A minigun is a continuous explosion, massive decibels. I don't care how tough he is, you can't train to strengthen your inner ear. That level of sound for that length of time would do serious and potentially permanent damage to his hearing. But the movie ignores that because it looks cool, and it does look cool. That's the thing, no matter how stupid all this stuff is, it actually really looks cool and is fun to watch. Meanwhile, Dom faces off against Shaw. The parking garage they're on collapses, and Shaw is seen falling to his death, although he survives. Dom literally drives his car head-on into a helicopter, drops explosions in midair, and survives, because of course he does. But not before having to go through a near-death experience. When Dom doesn't wake up afterward, Brian tries CPR. He's not breathing, he's non-responsive, so they try to do CPR. But you know what? That's boring. Let's do something stupid instead. Letty pulls Dom aside and just tells him that she remembers everything. She has regained her memory, she loves him, she knows how much they are family, blah, and he wakes up because she loves him. That is the most corny, ridiculous bullshit I've ever seen in a movie. If I am ever non-responsive, please do actual medical stuff to me. Don't just pull me aside and tell me stories. Do actual CPR. That would be preferable. But anyway, this movie is this movie, so she talks him back to life. And then we see Shaw getting tossed into a CIA black site. He's smirking like he knows he's going to be in the sequels. And the crew heads off to the beach for one final family moment. And then comes the emotional gut punch. Brian drives alongside Dom in one final moment as they part ways, and Brian literally rides off into the sunset. A beautiful goodbye to Paul Walker. The end of the movie is actually quite touching, and I respect how they handled it. Furious 7 is both incredible to watch and incredibly dumb. The action is jaw-dropping and extremely entertaining. The emotional beats really do hit, and the tribute to Paul Walker is genuinely moving, but the story is thinner than the paper it was written on. The villains are one note, and the laws of physics are barely to be found. Still, I can't deny it. It's a wild, ridiculous, entertaining ride. I love the highs, I laugh at the lows, and that's basically my relationship with the entire franchise. I've made it this far, there's no turning back now. I will be watching the rest of the Fast saga soon, plus I'll be diving more into the James Bond movies, and whatever other movies I happen to feel like at the time. I'm open to suggestions. What movies would you like to see me tackle next? Hit the like button and drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think of Furious 7. Let me know what you think of the franchise as a whole, and check out my books at ericwilfordwatson.com. This is Eric Wilford Watson, signing out.